I am Bharat. I am intern in PK in the team of CDAC Bangalore. Now I am going to explain about the demonstration video of Tap2Chat Android application. Tap2Chat Android application is a secure chatting application which uses the concept of FIDO and end-to-end encryption. FIDO is a fast identity online which is simpler, stronger authentication, and it is the world's largest ecosystem for standard-based interoperable authentication. And it is developed by the FIDO alliances. FIDO specification supports the multi-factor authentication and public key cryptography. FIDO also supports the two protocol, that is Universal Second Factor Protocol (U2F) and Universal Authentication Framework Protocol, that is UAF. In our application, we are using the U2F protocol. Here the authentication requires the strong second factor such as near field communication or USB security token. U2F protocol gives the strong security, strong second factor authentication, and using the public key crypto that protect against the phishing, session hijacking, man in the middle, and malware attacks. In our application, we are using the Yubico Neo as a U2F token, which supports the both near field communication and USB security tokens. To use our Tap2Chat Android application, the Android mobile has to be NFC enabled. Then only they can read the OTP that is generated from the Yubico Neo device while tapping. The YubiKey generates encrypted passwords that can be used only once. If hacker want to generate your OTP, they have to access your physical device, that is Yubico Neo, then only they can generate the OTP. In our Tap2Chat Android application, the user has to tap for authentication. After the successful authentication only they can chat with the other registered users. Another concept which we used in our Tap2Chat Android application is end-to-end encryption. End-to-end encryption means during the communication only communicators can read the messages, that is sender and the receiver. In our application we are using the RSA cryptographic algorithm to achieve the end-to-end encryption. RSA cryptographic algorithm is a asymmetric cryptographic algorithm in which we are having the two different keys. One key will be visible to everyone, so it is also called as public key cryptography. In RSA algorithm, public key is used to encrypt the messages and private key is used to decrypt the messages. In our application, if A and B are the user, if A want to send the message to B, A will encrypt the messages by using the B's public key and he will send the encrypted message, and B will receive the encrypted message and he will decrypt the messages by using its private key and read the actual messages. Now I am going to explain how NFC tag works in Tap2Chat application, how we get the data from that NFC tag, that is Yubico Neo, how we get that OTP and how we validating that OTP. First thing, when you are developing any Android application for the NFC tag, we want our application has to be notified when we get near to the NFC. For this, we have to use the intent filters. We are having three different intent filters, that are action end up discovered, action tag discovered, and action tag discovered. Action end up discovered having the higher priority. So in our application also we are using the action end up discovered intent filter. This intent filter works if our app is not running in the foreground. If our app is running in the foreground, the intent filter is not notified to the app when you are tapping the NFC device. So we have to use different mechanism, because when app is running on the foreground, if you are any NFC device is tapping, so we have to notify to the app. For this, we are using the NFC foreground dispatch event. The NFC foreground dispatch event, it will notify the app while it will running on the foreground. So we have to register the intent filters in the Android manifest file. First we have to write permission for android.permission.nfc in the Android manifest file, and we must include users, features, Android name is equal to android.hardware.nfc and Android required equal to true, because the Android device must have the NFC hardware and it has to be enabled as true. Here direct swipe is the activity in which we are getting the data from the NFC. here I adding the intent filter. Then we have to define that intent filter in our Java code to get the data from the NFC devices. First, I declare the one variable that called OTP pattern. This OTP pattern contains the pattern in the form of MODX. MODX is modified hexadecimal format. It only contains the characters like C, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, R, T, U, V. In our Yubico Neo, the OTP will be in the format of MODX only. So, we are assigning this pattern to the OTP pattern variable. Now, we have to define the intent also. In onResume method, I am defining the pending intent and I am assigning the action endf discover to the intent filter endf, and I am also adding the scheme for that also, https for the endf. Now I am starting the event enable foreground dispatch because our app has to be notified when our app is running in the foreground. So for this I am using the enable foreground dispatch event and I am assigning to the adapter. Now in the intent we are having the data which are from the NFC. So we are assigning into the data, and now we are matching with the OTP pattern. If that data is equivalent to the particular pattern which we are declaring in the variable section, that is OTP pattern. If that OTP matches, then we are invoking the handle OTP function. Handle OTP function which will use to validate the OTP, and it also used for if that YubiKey device already assigned for any user or what, we can extract the information from the database and we can compare with the particular YubiKey. I extract the first 12 characters of that OTP because every time the OTP is generated from the Yubico Neo, the first 12 character will be the same. So at the registration time also, I store that first 12 digit in the Firebase database for the particular user. So here first I extract that 12 characters and I store it in the separate variable, and now I am fetching that in the Firebase database. If that YubiKey is already assigned for any use, here I am getting the particular YubiKey. Here I am comparing with the database public key with the new key which I am getting from the current tapping. If it is equal, then the user is already exist in our database, so user is valid. But another thing we have to do, that is the entire OTP is generated, that is valid or not. For that we have to use the URL. Here I am using this URL, that is api.yubico.com/wsapi/verify. This will directly redirect to the Yubico cloud server, and here I am passing the OTP. So it will validate that OTP and it will give the response back to the application, and if that response is status equal to OK, then the OTP is valid. If the response is like replied OTP, so that OTP is not valid and it is a copied OTP. Like that I am getting the response from this URL. So now I am comparing that responses. Now I am going to explain how encryption and decryption is done in our Tap2Chat application. First of all, we have to generate the public and private key pair for the each user. This is done at the registration time. When user register to the our server, at that time only we are generating the both public and private key for the user. Here we are using the RSA 2048 algorithm. This can be done by using the keypair generator.get instance of RSA. Then we are generating the both public key and the private key by using the get public and get private method. Now I am going to explain how we encrypt the messages. Here we are calling the encrypt function with the message with the public key of the user. The encrypt function, here we just use this hyperclass and we are assign the RSA algorithm to that, and we are initialize as a encrypt mode because here we are encrypting the messages with the public key which are sending in the function parameter. So here the encryption of that message is done and we are returning that encrypted message in the string format to the calling function. Now I am going to show how the decryption is done in the receiving end. So in the receiver end we will call the decrypt function. He is having the encrypted message and he is using his private key, and now we are calling the decrypt function. In the decrypt function we are using the shaper class and we are assigning the RSA algorithm to that, and here we are initialize the shaper as a decrypt mode. In the encryption we have to initialize the shaper as a encrypt mode with the public key. Here we are initialize the shaper as a decrypt mode with the private key. Here the decryption of the message is done, so then we are converting that message into the string and we are returning that decrypted message. Now I am going to explain how Tap2Chat application works in the mobile. Your mobile has to be NFC enabled. Make sure that your NFC is enabled in your mobile. Now I am running my Tap2Chat application. Now I am explaining how you can register to our application. For that you have to tap here, that is new user, tap here to register. You have to tap your Yubico Neo device near your NFC sensor. Now I am tapping. So you are prompting the valid user. Then you are prompting the registration window. In registration window you have to give the username and you must give the valid email address only. Now I am clicking register. When you clicking register, the verification email is sent to the particular email ID. Now you have to click here, that is verify email. Here you are getting the prompt like registration success. So you are successfully added. Now in login we are having the two options. One is email ID password, another one is direct with the tapping. That is, you need not to enter email ID and password, you just has to tap your Yubico on your device and you directly logged into our application. Now I am showing you how we can log in into our Tap2Chat application with the direct tapping. For that you have to click on that button, that is click here to direct tapping. Now you have to tap your registered YubiKey device near the NFC sensor. And now I am tapping my Yubico Neo device, so it is a valid one. Now you are getting the user listing window. So here when you clicking any particular user, at this time only you are getting the public key of the particular user. Here I am getting the public key of the Anup. So here I can send the messages. When I rating and send the messages and I clicking send, the message will be sending to the particular user. Thank you for watching this video.